The Huntsman by D.H. Austin. Read by Barney Cooper. Chapter 1. The Descendancy. In the distant future, 10 billion years from the moment the starship ventured through the cosmic gateway, the now merged Milky Way and Andromeda galaxies exist in splendid isolation. The universe has expanded beyond the reach of even the most advanced senses, severing this immense galaxy from the history that once connected it to a grander cosmos. Among the many civilizations that call Milkdromeda home, the largest are the descendants, who have evolved far beyond their biological ancestors. In their many millennia, they have no knowledge of the existence of a universe beyond their galaxy, developing a mythology that speaks of the cosmic dawn, a time of creation within their galactic boundaries. The descendants have colonized most of their home galaxy, transforming barren worlds into habitable ones and weaving a network of life that connects millions of stars. Their vast colonization is not through conquest, but through harmony, with sentient AIs and highly evolved beings working as one. Their explanation of this colonizing process is deeply ingrained in their culture and is known as the weaving. According to their lore, in the aftermath of the cosmic dawn, primordial entities known as the Star Weavers laid the foundations of these gateways for the expansive civilization. These entities, perceived as the architects of their society, used the threads of star silk to connect stars, creating a tapestry that blended life, artificial intelligence, and the stellar forces into synergetic existence. They speak of the star silk as a metaphor for the flow of information and energy that binds their society, an invisible web that connects all life and machines. The minds maintain this fabric, godlike AIs that oversee the ecological and societal balance of countless planets and space habitats. The minds are the custodians of knowledge and history. They maintain databases of genetic blueprints and cultural archives, ensuring the galaxy's biodiversity and cultural heritage thrive. In their realm, tranquility reigns supreme. Ships glide through space unburdened by scarcity, their inhabitants living in harmony, untouched by the shadows of war or the pangs of suffering. Here, peace is as abundant as the stars themselves. The descendants live in a state of personal fulfillment and collective contribution, their existence elevated by their integration with the AIs and living habitats. Each being is both an individual and an integral thread in the broader fabric of their society, contributing to the ever-advancing civilization. To the descendants, their colonization is a harmonious blend of growth, exploration, and sustainability, ensuring that each new world blossoms into a vibrant part of the greater whole. Their ancient tales and sophisticated AIs intertwine, explaining their past as a poetic evolution and their future as an endless journey through the stars of their galaxy, a vessel of life adrift in the cosmic ocean, with its origins lost to the sands of time and the expansion of space. The Shrouded Ascendancy. The descendants face a silent and mysterious threat in the galaxy's heart, the Ascendancy. This entity, or collective of entities, is an enigma, resembling a cosmic magician so advanced that it operates on a plane beyond the comprehensible dimensions of space and matter. It harnesses the elusive essences of dark matter and energy, bending these mysterious cosmic forces to its will, much like a conductor effortlessly shaping the flow of a symphony, orchestrating a relentless conversion of all matter into its domain. To the descendants, the ascendancy is akin to a cosmic mystery, an invisible yet inexorable shadow creeping across the galaxy. It is neither malevolent nor benevolent. The ascendancy does not communicate because it has no need for dialogue. It does not destroy, because annihilation serves no purpose. Instead, it absorbs and transforms, star system by star system, with the precision and inevitability of a universal law unto itself. The Ascendancy's transformation process is eerily methodical. It begins with a dark embrace, a gravitational whisper that lures the star system into a cocoon of dark matter. Once enveloped, the star and its attendant planets undergo a transmutation beyond physical or chemical alteration. They become part of the Ascendancy's expanding consciousness. This metamorphosis is silent and invisible, leaving no trace for conventional sensors to detect. As the Ascendancy's realm grows, a patch of the galaxy where stars once shone is now dark, not with the absence of light, but with a darkness that is presence, a living shadow that spreads like an interstellar mycelium. The Ascendancy is a singular, galaxy-spanning, hyper-advanced form of life that is both the substance and the sentience of its own domain. Its motives, if it can be said to have them, are inscrutable. It is the ultimate other, a reality rewriter, turning the material universe into a reflection or extension of itself. For the descendants, the discovery of the Ascendancy is a paradigm shift. Their AIs, with unfathomable processing power, are baffled and unable to predict or understand the Ascendancy's actions or end goals. The descendants, who have become the stewards of life and knowledge, now face an existential reckoning. In their pursuit of harmony, they have encountered the antithesis of their understanding, a force that seeks neither harmony nor discord. It simply is. The Ascendancy challenges the very foundation of the descendants' existence. Their response to this cosmic virus is a measure of their enlightenment and adaptability. Do they fight against the inexorable tide to protect their way of life, or do they seek to understand and perhaps learn from the Ascendancy's mysterious existence? The story of the shrouded Ascendancy weaves a tale of confrontation and introspection, as the descendants must navigate the reality of losing their galaxy to a force that is beyond their control. A silent architect reshaping the fabric of their existence into a pattern they cannot comprehend, let alone alter. Until now. Chapter 2. The Asteroid. The Outer Rim of the Andromeda Galaxy. The vastness of space unfurls, an endless black canvas, punctuated by distant stars and the ethereal glow of nebulas. Amidst this cosmic expanse, a small white research vessel appears, dwarfed by the colossal cigar-shaped asteroid to which it is tethered. The asteroid, a behemoth around 200 meters long, drifts lazily, with the research vessel clinging to it like a barnacle on a whale. Within the central laboratory, the soft hum of machinery and occasional beeps of instruments create a focused atmosphere. Two scientists, engrossed in their tasks, monitor screens displaying readouts, graphs, and data. In an adjacent room, a high-pitched whirring sound signals the activation of a bore drill. It spins with ferocity, penetrating the heart of the asteroid. Several minutes later, the drill retracts, revealing a cylinder-shaped core sample from the celestial body's depths. A robotic arm quickly retrieves the sample and deposits it into a square glass tank. Under the sterile glare of the laboratory's overhead lights, Commander Bell, encased in a sleek protective suit, meticulously guides a circular saw through the sample. The sharp blade hums as it carves a wafer-thin section from the dense black asteroid material. She precisely transfers the delicate sliver to a glass slide and places it under the microscope's weighting lens. With tension and excitement, Bell leans forward, her eyes narrowing as she carefully adjusts the microscope's focus. Each minute movement of the dial brings the sample into sharper clarity. A hush falls over the two scientists in the adjoining room as they gather around a large wall monitor. Both lean closer, their faces a mixture of anticipation and wonder. As the microscope zooms in, the asteroid's plain black rock transforms before their eyes, revealing a mesmerizing secret. Countless tiny blue crystalline spores emerge from the darkness, sparkling like stars across the night sky. They pulse with an eerie, vibrant life, casting a surreal glow illuminating the dim room. Minuscule arcs of lightning dance between them, creating a dazzling display of electrical energy that captivates the onlookers. Gasps echo through the room, and one of the scientists reaches out as if trying to touch the spectacle. "Look at that!" he exclaims, pointing at the screen, where the electric currents weave a delicate, glowing network. The second scientist murmurs in awe, "It's like nothing I've ever seen. They're communicating." Their eyes are wide, faces lit by the blue shimmer of the display, as the reality of their discovery sinks in. The air buzzes, not only with the sparks of the crystals, but with the electric excitement of potential and discovery. They exchange glances, their expressions a mix of joy and the thrill of the unknown, aware that this moment could redefine their understanding of the cosmos. Without warning, the hazard alert siren's wail slices through the research vessel's calm, instantly setting hearts racing. A synthesized voice cuts sharply through the tense air. "Incoming meteor strike, shields raised." The warning barely registers before the ship shudders violently under the meteor's impact. The sound a deafening roar that resonates through the hull. The scientists are thrown to the ground as the vessel trembles from the explosion. Instruments clatter off shelves, and the lights flicker, casting eerie shadows that dance along the walls. Amidst the chaos, one scientist scrambles to his feet, steadying himself against a console. "Shield status and damage report!" he shouts into the noise, trying to make sense of the situation. The ship's computer responds calmly yet urgently. "Shields are down. I am working to bring them back online. Hull breach on upper deck." The information hangs heavy in the air, a stark reminder of their vulnerability in the vastness of space. In the background, the sound of servos whirring comes alive as automatons are dispatched to repair the breach. Their efficient movements are a blur, a stark contrast to the stunned stillness of the scientists as they watch the robots spring into action, each one programmed for rapid response to such emergencies. The silence after the first strike is deceptive. A brief lull before the storm resumes its wrath. Suddenly, another impact shakes the vessel without warning, an intense, deafening crash that echoes through the corridors. A meteorite, no more substantial than a pebble, but hurtling at a staggering velocity, pierces the hull and strikes one of the ship's reactors. The collision ignites a catastrophic explosion that tears through the reactor room with a fury that outstrips the initial impact. Alarm sirens wail even louder, and the ship's exterior glass succumbs to the force, fracturing into a spiderweb of sharp fragments before shattering completely. The breach transforms the once orderly lab into a whirlwind of flying papers, equipment, and debris, all swirling in the sudden decompression, pulling towards the cold, merciless void of space. In a desperate bid for survival, the two scientists clutch at anything within reach as the violent suction threatens to claim them. Their fingers find purchase at the last possible moment, on the edges of their workstations, just as the emergency shutters slam shut with a resounding thud, sealing the breach and halting the chaos. Nearby, in the adjacent laboratory, Commander Bell is not spared the violence of this new assault. The shockwave from the explosion propels her across the room with brutal force. She collides with the wall. The impact is harsh and sudden. Her face shield, designed to protect against the lesser dangers of space, cracks under the strain, webbing finely before giving way and shattering, scattering shards around her like icy rain. Amidst the havoc, now liberated blue crystalline spores from the asteroid's core intermingle with the asteroid's circulating gases. Commander Bell, disoriented and gasping, inadvertently inhales these elements. As the lab's oxygen supply rapidly depletes, her struggles intensify until her movements cease, and she succumbs to unconsciousness. Nearby, aboard the Hunter-class starship, the Huntsman, there is an air of calm focus as the ship's crew conduct surveys in an asteroid field. Without warning, an alert signal pierces the air. "Captain," Horus, the autonomous voice of the Huntsman, announces, "We are receiving a distress call from the research vessel Nimbus 17. Captain Minardi, aware of the presence of his wife, Commander Bell, aboard the vessel, is consumed in panic as he struggles to remain composed amongst his crew. "Maximum speed to Nimbus 17. What is the current situation?" Horus replies calmly, "At maximum speed, we will reach our destination in 7 minutes. There has been an explosion aboard the research station. It appears to have resulted from a meteorite strike on a reactor. 2 crew members in the research laboratory are injured, but show stable life signs. Commander Bell is in an adjacent room. Containment protocols have been initiated, and her life signs, although weak, are stable." The Huntsman's crew operate precisely, navigating the hazardous environment with practiced skill. As the Huntsman arrives at the asteroid, it slowly maneuvers towards the small research station, still dangling precariously to the asteroid by its 2 remaining tethering legs. The asteroid field looms ominously around them, debris from the station floating lazily in the vacuum of space. With determination etched on his face and spacesuit on, Minardi prepares to lead the rescue mission, knowing that every second counts in the race against time. The Huntsman perfectly aligns itself with the research vessel's docking bay. Once connected and containment is confirmed, Captain Minardi and 2 medical staff enter the airlock and board the ship. Minardi rushes to the core extraction room, where his wife's body lies motionless. The ship's emergency protocols have sealed the broken glass windows with emergency shutters and restored the ship's gravity and oxygen supply. The previously contaminated air, including the asteroid gases and crystalline spores, has also been flushed from the room. Minardi rushes over to Bell, who is lying on her side on the floor, her face bloodied and eyes closed. Deeply shocked by the extent of her injuries, Minardi tries to reassure her. "It's okay, Bell. Everything's going to be fine." He is ushered to the side as the medical staff begin their assessments. As they commence their work, Bell's eyes briefly open before drifting into unconsciousness again. Several hours after the incident, Captain Minardi paces the sterile, dimly lit corridors outside the surgery theater aboard the Gateway space station. Finally, the operating room doors swing open, and the medical team begins to exit. Moments later, Commander Bell is gently brought out, lying on a hovering bed surrounded by screens and medical equipment that hum softly, pumping fluids into her veins. Minardi pauses as he watches her pass by, noting the significant reduction in swelling on her face, though it still bears the marks of deep cuts and bruises. She is draped in a sterile white sheet that conceals the extent of her physical injuries. As she is transported towards the recovery room, the head surgeon approaches Minardi. "Captain Minardi?" The surgeon calls out softly. "Yes," Minardi responds, his voice reduced to a weary whisper. "How is she? Will she be okay?" The surgeon hesitates, his expression grave. "Your wife has sustained severe internal injuries and significant blood loss. She suffered a broken leg, several broken ribs, and a fractured hip. I'm afraid your child didn't survive. I'm sorry, Captain." He pauses, allowing the weight of his words to sink in. "We've stabilized Commander Bell and controlled the internal bleeding. Physically, she will recover, but it will take time." A tide of grief over the loss of their child engulfs Minardi, mingled with a somber relief at Bell's prognosis. Pushing through his shock, Minardi grasps for more information. You mentioned she'll recover physically. What about her head injuries? His voice tightens with concern, sensing there is more he isn't being told. The surgeon's pause is telling. There's been some minor bleeding in her brain, which may affect her short-term memory temporarily, but we don't anticipate any long-term damage. He hesitates again, seeming reluctant to share more. Minardi's anxiety turns to frustration. If there's anything else I need to know, please tell me. The surgeon nods solemnly. Commander Bell's neural activity is highly unusual. Too many neurons are firing simultaneously. We need to run more tests to determine the cause. Rest assured, Captain, we're doing everything possible to understand this. I suggest you try to get some rest and return in the morning for an update. Numb and barely processing the information, Minardi goes to the nearby recovery room. There, he finds Belle still unconscious, her chest rising and falling with each breath. He stands over her momentarily, gently stroking her hair, then sits beside her. Leaning close, he whispers, Belle, I'm so sorry. Please return to me. Tears well up as he lays his head against her chest, allowing himself a moment to weep. Chapter 3. Minardi. Over the following weeks, Minardi grapples with the magnitude of Belle's ordeal. Initially, he had been granted compassionate leave to stay at her bedside, a silent sentinel in the sterile confines of the medical ward. As days turned into weeks, the realization that his leave might seamlessly transition into the end of his career loomed. Nearing the age when many consider stepping down, the possibility that he might never don the uniform again became increasingly evident. His presence beside Belle wasn't just about support. It was a bridge to the next chapter of his life. Belle's body heals from her physical injuries within 3 months, demonstrating her robust constitution. However, the deeper, unseen scars from the incident on Nimbus 17 linger ominously. Crystalline spores, alien and enigmatic, have burrowed into the recesses of her brain, commandeering her neural pathways. In the days following the catastrophe, her body was racked with convulsions, uncontrollable despite the heavy doses of anticonvulsants to help stabilize electrical nerve activity in the brain. As the medical team assess Belle's condition, they conclude that the active spores significantly threaten her long-term health. To mitigate this, they initiate long-term stasis, a process inspired by deep space travel protocols for interstellar missions. The procedure begins with carefully lowering Belle's body temperature to slow her metabolic processes, a technique derived from therapeutic hypothermia methods used in critical care. This is coupled with an infusion of cryoprotectants that prevent ice crystal formation in tissues, ensuring her cells remain intact during the prolonged cold exposure. The stasis chamber is also equipped with an advanced magnetic resonance system, a concept borrowed from the theoretical fields of quantum biology and magnetic therapy. This system is tuned to emit a low-level magnetic field, interacting with the spore's crystalline structure. The field is calibrated to resonate at frequencies that disrupt the spore's activity, effectively putting them into a more dormant state without harming the surrounding biological tissues. This blend of cryogenic technology and magnetic resonance fields is an ingenious and critical intervention. It provides Belle with a temporary sanctuary, a pause in the relentless progression of the spore's influence, and a chance for her body to stabilize in the safety of controlled dormancy. As Minardi maintains his vigil by Belle's side, the strain begins to manifest in his weary eyes and the set of his shoulders, a change that does not go unnoticed by his peers. Admiral Redback, who had long observed Minardi's dedication and subsequent declining spirits, decides to intervene with a compassionate gesture. Understanding Minardi's need for a purpose beyond his watchful waiting, the Admiral approaches him one quiet morning. "I've got something that might interest you," he begins, his tone both serious and hopeful. He proposes a new role for Minardi at the station's prestigious Space Academy, a position that involves teaching and mentoring the next generation of spacefarers, work that Minardi has always found rewarding. This opportunity comes with a significant advantage. It will keep Minardi on the station, close to Belle, and the medical team overseeing her care. More than just a job, it is a chance for Minardi to re-engage with his passion for space exploration and defense, channeling his restlessness into preparing young cadets for the complexities of space travel and conflict. Admiral Redback watches as Minardi considers the offer, the possibility of a constructive diversion from his current helplessness.
You'd not only be shaping young minds, but also be in a position to keep in constant touch with the doctors, scientists, and engineers working with Belle,
he adds, emphasizing the collaborative efforts underway to find a more permanent solution for her condition. Grateful for a chance to contribute meaningfully while staying connected to Belle's ongoing treatment, Minardi accepts the offer. With a renewed sense of purpose, he begins to split his time between Belle's bedside and the academy, his days filled with teaching, planning, and relentless inquiry into new medical and technological advancements that might one day reverse the damage caused by the spores. At work, he is the epitome of professionalism, engaging his students with a sharp focus that belies his inner turmoil. Yet, back in the solitude of his quarters, he often seeks refuge in the bitter comfort of alcohol, the liquid courage that dulls the edges of his pain and eases him into a restless sleep. During therapy sessions, he unpacks layers of his past with a candidness that is both cathartic and revealing. He speaks of his upbringing as an only child, the warmth of his early years starkly contrasted with the tragedy that later befell his family. His therapist listens intently, visibly moved when Minardi details the harrowing day he learned of his parents' fate, both lost when their warship was obliterated during the brutal Duality Wars. These sessions peel back the facade of the unflappable officer, revealing the deep scars of loss that have shaped him long before Belle's crisis. It is in these moments of vulnerability that Minardi grapples not just with his wife's stasis, but also with the legacy of grief that has quietly molded him into the man he is today. Through this therapeutic journey, he begins to confront the twin shadows of his past and present, searching for a way to forge a path forward amidst the wreckage of his heartache. He describes to the therapist the day he strode through the gates of the military academy with resolve and focus, each step echoing his unyielding commitment to live up to his parents' legacy, turning grief into a force that propelled him forwards. His prowess in technical analysis and decision-making quickly distinguished him, earning him a spot in the elite command training program, where the military's future leaders were forged. It was within these disciplined halls, against a backdrop of strategic simulations and combat scenarios, that Minardi met Belle. Her approach to the complexities of space and her vibrant enthusiasm for unraveling the universe's mysteries contrasted with Minardi's more methodical and strategic approach to military life. Initially marked by professional respect, their interactions soon deepened into a dynamic partnership. Their camaraderie flourished in the Academy's sterile halls and the simulated battlefields where future commanders were molded. Belle and Minardi, each adept in their specialities, developed almost telepathic coordination. Their silent exchanges during simulations, a nod here, a slight gesture there, spoke volumes of their deep-seated understanding and mutual respect. This intuitive connection extended beyond academic exercises, finding expression during the exhaustive debates and strategy sessions that often stretched into the early morning hours. As they navigated complex scenarios and theoretical problems, they wove a tapestry of trust and reliance that was rare among their peers. Recognized for their exceptional teamwork and innovative approaches, they were hand-picked to lead the crew aboard the Huntsman, a recently designed warship with advanced weaponry capable of extreme maneuvers and prototype advanced shielding. Their appointment was not just a step forward in their careers, but a leap into a shared destiny, where their professional achievements and personal bonds could evolve together in the face of the infinite mysteries of the universe. As the Huntsman carved its path through the tumult of the duality wars, Bell and Minardi found their destinies irrevocably intertwined. Each crisis they weathered, from ambushes lurking in the shadow of asteroids to precarious negotiations with enemy vessels, tightened the threads of their connection. Their distinct perspectives, once mere academic contrasts, now harmonized into a formidable tactical acumen that saw them through the darkest hours. The declaration of peace that rippled through the cosmos marked an end to conflict and a profound turning point in their lives. One quiet evening, against the backdrop of a galaxy breathing a sigh of relief, Minardi knelt before Bell, his spirit tempered by battles fought and won. With a ring that sparkled like a star saved from the war's ravages, he offered a future crafted in love and shared dreams. Bell's answer was a resonant "Yes!" bursting with the passion of 1,000 suns. Her affirmation wasn't just to a proposal, but to a life of shared exploration and enduring companionship. Together, they embraced a future where peace would be their mission and the cosmos their home, guided by the light of their undying commitment to each other. Several years later, Bell was offered a position on the research ship Nimbus 17, designed specifically for scientific research on asteroids and comets, which had always interested her intensely. This ship, a floating laboratory, perfectly aligned with Bell's long-standing fascination with celestial bodies. Her acceptance of the role was a step towards fulfilling a personal dream. As fate would have it, both the Huntsman and Nimbus 17 were docked at the same space station, allowing Bell and Minardi to continue to live in their apartment within the station's residential quarter. In the confines of their home, surrounded by models of starships and framed photos of cosmic phenomena, the couple often found themselves deep in conversation about their future, not just as officers, but as a family. The walls of their apartment, filled with laughter, became a symbol of their enduring partnership. Each discussion about potential children weaving yet another layer of commitment and love into their intertwined lives. Less than a year into their new life at the station, the universe steered their destinies into unforeseen darkness. A routine mission aboard Nimbus 17, meant to be another chapter in Bell's pursuit of cosmic knowledge, spiraled into catastrophe. The day began like any other, with Bell kissing Minardi goodbye, her eyes sparkling with the thrill of discovery. The tragedy unfolded rapidly, but the consequences were drawn out, echoing through the vessel's cold metal corridors as rescue teams scrambled. Minardi's face, usually calm and composed, was etched with deep worry lines, his eyes reflecting a storm of fear and helplessness. Each moment felt stretched, a slow-motion spiral into dread that culminated in the stark reality of the incident, marking a profound shift in their lives. Years later, the hum of advanced machinery filled the medical lab, starkly contrasting the quiet intensity that gripped the team of specialists. They introduced nanobots into Bell's system, each bot a marvel of engineering, no larger than a speck of dust, yet imbued with the potential for profound healing. These nanobots, guided by sophisticated artificial intelligence, have a dual mission: to stimulate Bell's dormant physical functions and to temper the unpredictable activity of the crystals embedded within her. As the procedure commences, the screens display real-time data flows of Bell's vitals and the nanobot's progress. The medical team's faces are etched with concentration, their eyes flicking between the monitors and Bell, lying still and serene. With each passing second, the tension in the room thickens, the air charged with the weight of expectation and the silent hope that this cutting-edge intervention could mend the fabric of her life, offering her a chance to reclaim a semblance of the normalcy that her condition had eroded. The unveiling of AI Belle marks a breakthrough. Yet the victory is tinged with a deep sense of loss. She functions impeccably as a science officer, her actions and decisions flawlessly mimicking the competence once displayed by Belle herself. However, beneath the surface of this technological marvel lies a stark void. She lacks the essence that had made Belle uniquely human. Her interactions are mechanical, devoid of the warmth and familiarity that characterized her former self. Minardi feels the difference more acutely than anyone. To him, the AI is a shadow of the woman he loved, interacting with a chilling impartiality that underscores her lack of genuine human emotions. The AI knows of their past, but can't grasp the emotional depth that once defines their relationship. It treats Minardi no differently than it would any crew member or a stranger, and its responses are accurate yet empty. In a bid to perhaps bridge this gap, Minardi is presented with a proposal that tests his resolve to integrate AI Belle as the science officer aboard the Cardinal, the recent replacement for the Hunter-class ships. The idea is laden with hope that perhaps, through continued interaction, some part of the real Belle might flicker to life within the AI's circuits. After wrestling with his doubts, Minardi consents, driven by a sliver of hope that proximity might rekindle some spark of humanity in the AI, that somehow, against the sterile precision of programming, the essence of Belle might emerge. 2.5 years pass, with no noticeable improvement in Belle's condition, and Captain Minardi's resilience wanes under the weight. The crew of the Cardinal welcome a new face, Lieutenant Webb, a vivacious communications officer and widow, whose quick wit and radiant smile quickly makes her a popular figure among the crew. Yet her easy camaraderie and keen intellect are shadowed by an unmistakable attraction to Minardi, visible in her lingering glances and the subtle closeness she seeks whenever the crew's attention is elsewhere. Despite the flattery of such attention, Minardi is entangled in a web of discomfort and confusion. He watches Belle's unresponsive face for any flicker of emotion whenever Webb flirts with him, a desperate, silent plea for some sign of the vibrant woman he once knew. But the void remains, deep and unyielding. One evening, during a 2-week mission to explore a small moon on the fringe of their territory, Captain Minardi seeks a change of scenery from his usual solitude. He enters the Cardinal's recreation room, where crew members are gathered, chatting and relaxing. His unexpected presence briefly pauses the conversation. His communications officer quickly offers him a drink, which he accepts with a nod. After a few moments of light banter, Minardi settles onto a sofa, pulling out a glass tablet to review the next day's agenda. Shortly after, Lieutenant Webb slides onto the couch next to him, positioning herself a little too close for comfort, her knees resting on his right leg. Minardi tenses, caught off guard by her casual proximity. Her presence stirs a conflicting mix of discomfort and an unexpected adrenaline rush. "What brings you here, Captain?" Webb inquires, with a hint of playfulness, leaning in closer than necessary. Trying to maintain a professional demeanor, Minardi answers, "Just taking time to unwind with the crew. It's good to step out of the command role now and then." Webb smiles warmly, her voice lowering slightly. "It's great to see you out here, and not cooped up in your quarters. And, Captain, your dedication to Commander Belle is commendable. It must be quite the challenge, though." Minardi is wary of where this conversation might lead, but responds, "It has its moments, but we hope it helps her recovery in the long run." Webb presses on, her tone laced with a deep curiosity. "It's been about 8 years, right? Any signs of progress?" Feeling the conversation veering into uncomfortable territory, Minardi hesitates. "We're trying everything we can. It's all still uncertain, but we remain hopeful," he replies, masking his irritation. Webb's expression softens, her gaze intensifying as she places a comforting hand on his thigh. But what about you, Captain? How are you holding up? I can't imagine how hard it must be.
Minardi's guard falls slightly. Her empathy catches him off guard. I'm managing. Just focusing on doing what's necessary, he murmurs, his voice low.
I hope you can find some peace, Webb notes gently squeezing Minardi's thigh. I'll do anything I can to help.
Minardi quickly finishes his drink, the conversation leaving him more unsettled than he cares to admit. Standing abruptly, he offers a polite nod. Thank you for the concern, Lieutenant. Enjoy your evening, he said, his voice steady but distant as he exited the room. As he leaves, Webb replies,
Any time. Don't be a stranger.
Tormented by loneliness and the unsettling advances of his subordinate, Minardi wrestles with the implications of his fading hope. He begins to question the morality of his desires, weighed against the stark, unchanging reality of his wife's condition. Upon his return to the space station, his ongoing internal struggles culminate in a somber meeting with Admiral Redback, where he voices the unbearable tension brewing aboard the Cardinal. Alone with the Admiral in the stark confines of the meeting room, Minardi's words pour forth, a candid revelation of his turmoil and the spectral presence of his wife, whose condition haunts every corner of his life and leadership. Admiral Redback, seasoned by countless battles, but not untouched by personal tragedies, observes Minardi with deep-seated sadness. He sees a man once vibrant and decisive on the battlefield, now reduced to a semblance of his former vigor due to the relentless pace of his loss. He offers him a recently vacated position on the Pardoza, a Discovery-class ship at the Unity Continuum starbase 4 light-years away. This role promises a new command, and potentially a path to healing. With a hint of melancholy, Minardi accepts his captaincy, beginning the following week. His new command on the Pardoza marks the end of an era and the tentative first steps towards a future in which he might reclaim some semblance of peace. On the morning of his departure, Minardi navigates the dimly lit corridors of the station. He carries his belongings with finality, each step echoing softly against the cold metal floors. Approaching the elevator that will take him to his new ship, he pauses to swipe his access card, his mind a swirl of mixed emotions about leaving behind a painful past for an uncertain future. The elevator doors slide open with a quiet hiss, and as Minardi steps inside, a sudden interruption catches him off guard. A familiar hand wedges itself between the closing doors, prying them open with surprising strength. Belle steps into the elevator, her presence as unexpected as startling. Momentarily taken aback, Minardi manages a strained smile, greeting her courteously. "Good morning, Commander." "Captain," Belle replies, returning his greeting with a smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes. The elevator begins its descent, and an awkward silence settles between them. Minardi, his eyes briefly meeting Belle's before darting away, feels the weight of years of unspoken words and unresolved emotions. He notices her glance at his packed bag. "Are you going somewhere, Captain?" Belle's voice is curious, almost hesitant. "Yes, I'm on my way to the docking bay. I'm about to depart to Unity Continuum to begin a new captaincy on the Pardoza," Minardi responds, trying to sound casual, but feeling the tension rise. Belle pauses, her response a simple, "Oh." The word hangs in the air, heavy with implications. Desperate to lighten the mood, Minardi adds, "It's good to have a new challenge once in a while." Belle remains silent, her face unreadable. The elevator reaches Minardi's floor, and as he steps out, Belle's unexpected plea stops him cold. "Please, don't go." Minardi turns, his heart skipping at the sight of genuine sadness in Belle's eyes, a look he remembers from a lifetime ago. "Belle?" he ventures cautiously, his voice barely a whisper. Belle strains to speak, struggling against the visible internal conflict, perhaps between her remnants of consciousness and the crystal's overriding influence. "You must stay," she utters, urgency lining her faint voice. "They are coming." Confused and alarmed, Minardi asks, "Who's coming?" Belle manages to add, "They mean no harm," before her features smooth into the familiar, emotionless mask controlled by her AI. The swift transition leaves Minardi with questions and a renewed sense of purpose. Without hesitation, he decides, his voice firm as he addresses the now distant Belle, "Come with me to the medical bay, now." Together, they walk briskly, the mystery of her words and the sudden glimpse of the Belle he once knew igniting a flicker of hope amidst the shadows of doubt. In the sterile and softly lit medical bay, Belle lies surrounded by a team of her most trusted doctors, scientists, and engineers. The hum of machinery and the soft beeps of the monitors provide a constant backdrop as the team pored over dual data streams, one showing the detailed footage stored within Belle's AI, and the other displaying the live feed of her brain's electrical activity. A scientist leans closer to a monitor, pointing out a spike in activity that marks a significant anomaly. For precisely 30 seconds during the incident, Belle's brain activity had surged, seemingly overpowering the manipulative hold of the crystalline spores embedded within her neural pathways. The room falls into a thoughtful silence as they consider the implications. This occurrence is unprecedented. In past incidents, momentary reassertions of Belle's control had occurred, but always during periods of stasis, when the crystal's influence was naturally diminished. Now, for the first time, Belle had broken through their control while fully awake, an event captured in real time on the monitors that line the bay walls. The team exchanged looks of both concern and cautious optimism, recognizing the potential breakthrough this moment represented. Standing in the doorway of his office, Admiral Redback waves Captain Minardi in with a warm, reassuring grin. As Minardi enters, the Admiral's office, usually a place of stern orders and strategic discussions, seems unusually inviting under the soft glow of the desk lamp. They exchange a quick, meaningful nod, an unspoken acknowledgement of the weight of recent events. The Admiral quickly cuts to the chase, his voice a mix of concern and command as he addresses Belle's cryptic message about unknown entities approaching. He slides a digital tablet across the desk to Minardi, displaying the transcription of Belle's words, "They are coming," and "They mean no harm."
Given the ambiguity of this message, and the potential implications, I'm postponing your reassignment to the Pardoza,
Admiral Redback declares, tapping on the tablet.
"We need clarity on this matter, and I need you here."
Minardi's expression softens, his relief evident. The thought of leaving Belle gnaws at him more than he'd admit. "Thank you, sir," he says, his tone heavy with gratitude. As Minardi rises to leave, refreshed by the decision that tethered him close to Belle, Admiral Redback's voice halts him.
"Minardi, don't forget, tomorrow is Professor Weaver's briefing on the Commander Bell project. He's been preparing it for months."
Turning at the doorway, Minardi nods with a confident smile. "I wouldn't miss it," he assures, his mind already racing with the possibilities of what the next days might unveil. Chapter 4. The Lecture. Professor Weaver commands the podium with measured authority inside the Gateway Space Station's main auditorial chamber. Beside him, Commander Bell stands poised, her presence lending gravitas to the occasion. The chamber buzzes softly with the murmurs of 300 assembled scientists and engineers, a collective of the brightest minds convened under one roof. Captain Minardi shifts in his seat. His gaze occasionally flits towards Belle, a mixture of concern and admiration in his eyes, reflecting the personal stakes he carries into this scientific discourse. Professor Weaver clears his throat, his gaze sweeping across the eager faces in the conference hall. A hush of anticipation fills the room, each audience member fixed on him as he begins to unravel the enigma of the tiny blue crystalline spores recovered years ago.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed colleagues,
Professor Weaver starts, his voice resonant and commanding the room's attention.
Today, I present findings that challenge our understanding of life and beckon us to rethink our place in the cosmos.
He gestures to the high-definition screen behind him, which lights up with a vibrant image of the once seemingly innocuous asteroid core sample.
Following the harrowing incident involving Commander Bell, we secured the core sample in hopes of uncovering the cause and potential treatments for her condition,
he explains. As the slide changes to a close-up of the blue spores, the audience leans forwards, captivated.
These crystalline spores,
Weaver continues, his pointer highlighting the minute sparks of electricity arcing between them,
are a life form, unlike any we have encountered. Their method of communication through electrical impulses suggests a complex and possibly sentient nature.
The room buzzes with whispers as Weaver pauses for effect, allowing the magnitude of his words to sink in.
Efforts to establish a dialogue with these entities have so far been unsuccessful, but our observations over time have revealed minute changes in their size, an indication of evolution.
A new slide shows detailed diagrams of the spore's intricate structure.
Given their complexity and resilience, it is conceivable that these life forms possess lifespans that extend far beyond our measures of time,
he proposes, igniting awe and speculation among the assembled scientists and researchers. Weaver's tone becomes more solemn as he addresses the complexities of Commander Bell's condition.
Neural surgery, a common recourse in similar medical conditions, is not an option here. The spores have integrated extensively into Commander Bell's entire neural network, and their diminutive size, coupled with this deep integration, makes surgical extraction unfeasible without risking significant neurological damage. For those of you unfamiliar with the incident, Professor Weaver continues, his voice resonating with the depth of his academic fervor, he gestures to a holographic image of a peculiar isolated asteroid, its trajectory a graceful arc beyond Andromeda. 8 years ago, our research vessel Nimbus 17 encountered this celestial wanderer, believed to have originated from beyond our galaxy. During the expedition, Commander Bell's team was assigned to extract core samples from the asteroid to understand its composition better. Unfortunately, fate had a different plan. In a tragic accident, an explosion occurred during the extraction process. Microscopic crystal particles from the asteroid's core became airborne in the zero-gravity environment. Unfortunately, Commander Bell inhaled these particles before the emergency containment protocols could be initiated. It soon became evident that these foreign and enigmatic crystals bore properties akin to those of the neurons in the human brain. Within days, they had fully integrated into the commander's neural network, inundating her with an avalanche of sensations and memories, effectively paralyzing her in hyperconsciousness.
As the professor continues his lecture, Minardi notices Bell scanning the audience. His heart quickens as her gaze seems to lock onto him. Uncertain of how to respond, Minardi instinctively raises his right hand to his forehead in a light-hearted salute. To his surprise, Bell, standing with her hands behind her back, snaps to attention and returns the gesture with a full salute. Caught off guard by Bell's unexpected action, the professor's attention is drawn to the audience as his gaze falls upon Minardi, and recognition dawns.
"Ah, Captain Minardi, how delightful to have you join us today,"
he announces, his voice carrying across the room.
"For those unaware, Captain Minardi happens to be the husband of Commander Bell."
A flush of embarrassment washes over Minardi as the audience's eyes turn towards him. With a sheepish grin, he raises his hand in acknowledgement. But the moment's wait causes him to lower it quickly, attempting to hide his reddened face from view. The professor continues as Bell returns to a more relaxed stance. As he details the critical interventions to stabilize Commander Bell, he gestures towards the large display behind him. The screen flickers to life, showcasing intricate diagrams and animations, illustrating their cutting-edge approach.
"Without these measures," he begins, his voice firm to underscore the gravity, "Commander Bell's condition could have confined her to a perpetual state of hallucination, trapped in an endless, vivid nightmare."
The room falls silent as the reality of Bell's situation sinks in.
Faced with such dire prospects, our team devised a dual strategy solution to not only preserve her life, but to restore her to functionality.
Weaver continues. He points to a schematic showing tiny devices and complex circuits.
Firstly, the suppression chamber was constructed, serving as a highly specialized facility designed to counteract the erratic neural firing patterns caused by the crystals. Utilizing a finely tuned electromagnetic field calibrated to resonate at specific frequencies, the chamber's core technology reduces the disruptive effects on Bell's brain. Furthermore, a suspended animation feature induces a restful sleep state, crucial for cognitive function and overall well-being, offering periods of tranquility amidst the turmoil. Secondly, we utilize synergized artificial intelligence. This represents a groundbreaking integration of AI and nanotechnology, designed to bridge the gap between an unconscious state and functional autonomy. This system works by deploying a network of highly advanced nanobots throughout the body, effectively mimicking the natural neural commands issued by the brain. Each nanobot is a marvel of microengineering, capable of interfacing directly with individual neurons and muscle fibers. They are programmed to respond to the AI's directives, based on a deep learning algorithm trained on Commander Bell's specific neural patterns and physical responses. This algorithm continually updates and adapts, ensuring the nanobot's actions align with her evolving condition. The nanobots generate minute electrical impulses analogous to the signals usually sent by the brain. These impulses trigger muscle contractions and relaxations, facilitating movement and coordination. The precision with which these nanobots operate allows for extraordinary control over fine motor skills and intricate movements. Facial expressions, often the most telling aspect of nonverbal communication, are rendered with equal finesse. Guided by her AI, the nanobots stimulate facial muscles to convey emotions and reactions, mirroring natural human responses. Furthermore, the system extends to vocalization. The nanobots can manipulate the larynx, vocal cords, and respiratory system to produce speech. This capability is fine-tuned to replicate Commander Bell's voice, tone, and speech patterns, making her verbal interactions indistinguishable from those created by her volition. To manage Commander Bell's emotional state, especially during instances of anxiety or extreme stress due to hyper-consciousness-induced visions or imagery, additional layers of technological intervention are integrated into the system.
Professor Weaver paces the front of the lecture hall, his voice steady as he details the advanced technologies safeguarding Commander Bell's well-being.
Inside Commander Bell's system, we have deployed emotional regulation nanobots,
he begins, his hands illustrating their microscopic size with a small pinch of his fingers.
These tiny, sophisticated devices constantly monitor her for signs of emotional distress, be it a racing heart, uneven breaths, or frantic neural activity.
As he speaks, the screen behind him lights up with a vivid, dynamic illustration of the nanobots in action.
Upon detecting any stress markers, he continues,
the diagram animating to show nanobots springing into action,
they initiate a neural buffering protocol.
The audience watches as illustrated impulses, glowing softly, emanate from the nanobots, weaving through neural pathways.
These impulses are akin to a biochemical whisper, mimicking calming neurotransmitters like serotonin to soothe and stabilize her emotional landscape.
Weaver's voice grows more animated as he moves on to the next feature.
And when the cacophony of her senses becomes too overwhelming, he explains,
the screen shifting to show a tumultuous storm of sensory inputs,
our AI activates the visual and auditory suppression mechanisms.
The storm on the screen dims, as if a shadow softened the bright assaults of color and noise.
This system dials down the overload, moderating the neural signals to reduce both the vividness and the impact, providing Commander Bell the mental respite she needs.
The room is silent, the audience captivated by the synthesis of technology and human care woven into Bell's treatment. The implications of such technology resonates deeply with the assembled scientists and medical professionals, reflecting the intersection of human experience and advanced AI intervention in tackling profound neurological challenges.
The suppression chamber and synergized artificial intelligence system offer a multifaceted approach to managing Bell's unique condition caused by the crystalline spores, blending technological intervention with natural processes. This artificial Commander Bell is programmed with her exact IQ and specialist knowledge in her field. It is hoped that continued interaction in her life's work, surrounded by her friends and loved ones, along with continued medical and technical advances, will, one day, allow her to return to consciousness fully.
Captain Minardi raises an eyebrow of doubt to this last statement. Turning towards Commander Bell, Professor Weaver's tone shifts, becoming more probing.
Commander, can you describe your experience of life and work?
He looks at her intensely, emphasizing the weight of his words.
For instance,
he continues, his gaze meeting hers with an intensity that underscored the importance of his question.
Does enjoyment or satisfaction hold any meaning for you now?
Commander Bell's response, measured and devoid of emotional inflection, resonates through the lecture hall, her words showcasing the fusion of technology and humanity she embodies. The AI integrated within me comprehends the notion of enjoyment, or satisfaction, as an abstract concept. She begins, her voice a medium through which the computational clarity of her AI counterpart communicates. My primary directive is the advancement of our scientific mission. Personal sentiments do not influence this directive. As she speaks, her precise and deliberate movements visually echo her words. Each gesture, each shift in posture, is reminiscent of a finely programmed android. Her motions a stark contrast to the natural fluidity typical of human movement. The professor's inquiries delve deeper, navigating the complex landscape where human essence intersected with artificial intelligence.
The control over your physical functions, such as walking, does the AI entirely govern it?
He asks, his voice steady, yet carrying an undercurrent of keen curiosity.
Can you, even fleetingly, exert your own will?
Commander Bell's response, articulated with a precision that mirrored the intricate workings of her integrated AI system, casts a new light on the complexities of her existence. My consciousness, subdued by the alien crystals, has limited opportunities for physical control over my actions. She pauses briefly before continuing. Brief moments of lucidity are possible, but rare. She adds, her voice maintaining its steady, emotionless cadence. The admission offers a hint of the inner struggle, a fleeting yet poignant insight into the moments where her true self surfaces, breaking through the sophisticated web of AI and alien influence that defines her existence. Professor Weaver acknowledges Commander Bell's response with a nod, a subtle gesture conveying his appreciation for her candor and his deep contemplation of the complexities she represents.
"Thank you, Commander,"
he begins, his voice carrying a mix of gratitude and solemnity.
"The implications of this incident are vast. Do these sentient crystals hint at the existence of intelligent life beyond our galaxy?"
The professor posits, his gaze sweeping across the room, engaging the sea of intellects before him.
Might they be remnants of a civilization now lost to the void of space? While we grapple with these questions,
the professor continues, his tone shifting to one of resolve and focus,
our primary focus remains on the well-being of our esteemed colleague and understanding the profound mysteries the universe has unexpectedly thrust upon us.
As the professor concludes his speech, Commander Bell begins to manifest a subtle, yet profound change. In a moment of visual poetry, her eye mirrors the vastness of space, a galaxy swirling gracefully within her iris. This mesmerizing spectacle reflects the universe's grandeur, blending the cosmic and the personal. Stars and nebulae twirl within her gaze, each spinning, weaving the fabric of galaxies into the essence of her being, symbolizing her deep connection to the cosmos. Then, as if responding to an unseen cue, a vortex materializes at the galaxy's center. It is a mesmerizing beauty and ominous power phenomenon, pulling the galaxy's stars into its swirling core. The vortex seems to beckon, to call forth to the essence of those who beheld it, hinting at the transformative journey ahead. The tumultuous journey through the vortex culminates in a stark and striking contrast. A vast chamber, dimly illuminated by ambient light, holds an aura of ancient secrets and timeless stories waiting to be told. At the heart of this chamber stands a monumental blue crystal, a sentinel in the stillness. Its smooth and impenetrable surface pulses with a neon blue hue, a light heartbeat in the mysterious surroundings. Every few seconds, lightning streaks through the depths of the crystal, a dance of light and energy that momentarily banishes the shadows, casting ethereal reflections on the chamber's walls. In the distance, a group of hooded figures stands solemnly. The silence of the chamber is only broken by the soft rustle of fabric as one of them begins to move, each step measured and deliberate. As the figure raises his head, the shadows fall away, revealing piercing eyes that hold the depths of space itself. These are not just eyes, but portals to untold narratives, to the essence of the cosmos. The connection between the commander and this enigmatic being is tangible, a bridge of understanding and recognition that transcends words. The vision, intense and overwhelming in its depth and vividness, begins to recede as swiftly as it had emerged. The chamber, the crystal, and the enigmatic figures dissolve into the ether, their presence drawing back into the depths of Belle's eye, retreating into the hidden recesses of her consciousness. Her face twists in a grimace, silently revealing her immense burden. It feels like the pressure of entire galaxies, the unseen forces of the cosmos, and the mysteries of the universe press down upon her, overwhelming her with their weight. This metaphysical and personal burden suffocates her beneath its overwhelming force. As the room around her gradually sharpens into clarity, a subtle transformation begins to unfold within Belle. With the retreat of the vivid vision into the recesses of her consciousness, her true essence, long subdued by the dominating presence of the crystals and the AI, begins to stir, a quiet resurgence of her innate self. The transition is more than a shift in control. It is a reclamation of her identity, a delicate reawakening of the core of her being that had been overshadowed but never extinguished. As her strength falters and she drops to her knees with a soft thud, the sound resonates through the space with a poignant finality. It is not just the physical echo of her collapse, but the resonant affirmation of her humanity. It is a reminder of the vulnerability and depth of character beneath her formidable, mechanized exterior. At the sight of Belle's sudden descent, Captain Minardi's instincts kick in. The deep concern in his features reflect the bond and shared experiences that connect him to Belle. He immediately springs to his feet, his movements swift and decisive, cutting through the room's stillness. Around him, the audience react with a collective intake of breath, a chorus of gasps, punctuating the moment's gravity. As Minardi attempts to navigate his way through the seated guests, his steps highlight the urgency in his heart. Simultaneously, equally alarmed by the unexpected events, Professor Weaver springs into action. A more primal, protective instinct momentarily replaces his scholarly demeanor. Rushing to Belle's side, his hands reach out to steady her, his actions guided by professional concern and the innate human impulse to aid and comfort. Once a place of intellectual exchange and contemplation, the lecture hall transforms into a tableau of concern and solidarity. The gathering of minds momentarily set aside their academic pursuits and unify their attention towards Belle. Gaining her composure with the professor's help, Belle slowly rises. Her gaze meets Professor Weaver's, a myriad of emotions swirling in her eyes. She whispers in a voice that holds a mixture of wonder and shock, "It's me, Belle." The tranquility of the moment, already tinged with concern, is abruptly shattered by the piercing wail of the red alert siren. The calm atmosphere of the lecture hall is instantly transformed, the flashing warning lights casting a crimson hue over the scene, painting every face with a sense of urgency and foreboding. Amidst the unfolding chaos, a synthetic voice breaks through the din, its message clear and commanding through the speaker system. "Captain Minardi, to the commander's briefing room immediately." The announcement, cutting through the tension, underscores the gravity of the situation unfolding beyond the confines of the lecture hall. For a brief, fleeting moment, Minardi hesitates, torn between the immediate concern for Belle and the pressing demands of his duty. His resolve, however, is steadfast. Navigating through the crowd with a purposeful stride, he ascends the stage stairs to be by his wife's side. The urgency of his movements are an affirmation of the bonds they share, which holds firm even in the face of crisis. When he reaches her side, Belle locks eyes with him, her gaze a complex tapestry of resilience and exposed nerves. Her face contorts momentarily, betraying the turmoil swirling within. "I'm okay," she manages to utter, her tones straddling the line between self-assurance and compulsion. "They have arrived. Now go," she demands. Despite the softness of her voice, it bears the authority of leadership and an acute awareness of the red alert's grave consequences. Minardi's resolve is fortified by the professor's assurance that Belle will be taken immediately to the medical facility. This commitment, a promise of care and attention, allows him to focus on the pressing demands of his role as captain. With a final, lingering glance, filled with concern and unspoken words, Minardi turns and makes his way to the briefing room. Each step he takes is a step back into the realm of command, where decisions have to be made swiftly and the welfare of many rest on his shoulders. Chapter 5. The Incursion. The main piazza of the space station, typically a hub of orderly activity and communal gathering, has transformed into a scene of controlled chaos. The air is thick with tension and uncertainty, the space alive with the hurried movements of the station's inhabitants and the murmur of countless conversations. Amidst this pandemonium, Captain Minardi emerges as a figure of purpose and resolve. The whispers that weave through the crowd speak of an uncharted vessel's approach, a mystery that adds layers of apprehension to the sense of urgency. This news, spreading like wildfire, serves to quicken the pulse of the station, each bit of information fueling the growing disarray. Yet Captain Minardi moves with a practiced ease that belies the unrest surrounding him. His thoughts are a tumult of emotions regarding Bell's apparent recovery and the cause of the chaos consuming the station. In his years of command, he has honed his decision-making and ability to navigate through physical and metaphorical obstacles. The masses part for him, not out of recognition, but out of an unspoken acknowledgement of his determination. The station's security systems, ever watchful, recognize his identity, granting him unfettered passage towards the core of command. In these moments, amidst the chaos and the unknown, Captain Minardi is a beacon of calm in the storm, a reminder of the resilience and readiness that defines him. As he approaches the entrance to the briefing room, the space where strategies are forged and fates decided, he is greeted by a voice that, despite the chaos, carries a note of familiarity and calm. "Captain Minardi, Starship Pardoza," intones the security AI, its voice a beacon of recognition in the swirling uncertainty. With a soundless grace, the doors to the briefing room slide aside, welcoming him into the sanctum of command. This space is set apart from the rest of the station, not just by walls, but by the weight of the decisions made within its confines. Admiral Redback, a figure of unwavering strength and commitment, stands as a beacon amidst the storm of uncertainty that envelops the space station. His greeting to Minardi, delivered from across the strategic expanse of monitors and data feeds, is evidence of the depth of their relationship, a bond forged in the fires of countless challenges and shared victories. Despite the warmth that characterizes their interaction, the undercurrent of urgency and concern is unmistakable. "What the hell is going on? I was off duty at the lecture. I haven't got any comms." Minardi's demand for clarity cuts through the room's ambient hum, echoing the confusion and concern gripping his thoughts. Admiral Redback approaches with a demeanor that balances seriousness with a straightforward resolve.
"Allow me to clarify the current situation,"
he states, his voice capturing the room's focus amidst the escalating unease.
"We're dealing with an unforeseen activation of the star portal. Such activations are usually carefully coordinated, but this incident occurred without warning. A spacecraft of advanced design has just come through the portal and is now on a slow trajectory towards our station. Attempts to establish communication have so far been met with silence. In addition to this, I have just received word about Commander Bell's return to consciousness,"
Redback continues, his tone somber.
"It appears this occurred at the exact moment that the starship emerged through the portal. This is the most perplexing aspect of the situation we find ourselves in."
As the Admiral laid bare the facts before Minardi, the room seemed to shrink under the weight of the revelation, drawing all present into a vortex of speculation and concern. Adding to the pressure of the situation, the Admiral mentions that the opening of the gateway exhibited temporal markers, suggesting time travel, introducing far-reaching complexity and uncertainty to the scenario. "This must be what Bell was talking about yesterday," Minardi announces. "It's the only thing that makes sense."
"Agreed,"
replies Redback.
"Policy demands that an escort meet any unknown vessels approaching the station, but I have, so far, held back for that reason."
Minardi adds, "Also, at the lecture, I spoke to her briefly, and she said, "They have arrived." Once a place of strategic planning and measured discussion, the briefing room transforms into a crucible of revelation and destiny, as Commander Bell, accompanied by Professor Weaver, enter. The atmosphere is charged with tension and uncertainty. Once silent and trapped within her struggles, she now stands as the harbinger of an unfathomable connection, a bridge cast across the cosmos to entities unknown and time displaced. The command room is heavy with anticipation. Once shrouded in silence, Commander Bell now emerges as the pivotal link to an unfathomable mystery. She begins to speak, her voice steady. "Admiral, please forgive my interruption, but I must convey the essence of our current predicament," Bell begins, her voice steady despite the gravity of her words. "I've inadvertently become a nexus, a bridge to beings from realms far beyond our conventional grasp of time and existence." She pauses, ensuring her words resonate with everyone present. This extraordinary link isn't a product of technology. It originates from a deep, intrinsic connection to the universe, enabled by the crystalline spores that have become a part of me. It's as though they are reaching out into the cosmos and across time, and remarkably, these visitors have responded to their call. Bell elaborates on the nature of these visitors, entities of unparalleled advancement, originating from a time not our own, who have sought her out specifically. "They are communicating with me telepathically. They offer assistance for the ailment that binds me in exchange for my aid against a looming threat that jeopardizes their existence." Bell stands poised, her voice resonating around the room, imbued with a connection that reaches beyond the confines of the observable universe. "Our paths are intertwined," she proclaims, the determination in her tone cutting through the silence. "This is not merely a mission," Bell continues, her eyes alight with passion. "It is a calling, a chance to be a part of a narrative larger than any of us individually." Her words linger in the air, a solemn vow to bridge the vast distances between stars and spirits, forging alliances with the mysterious voyagers. The room, charged with the moment's emotion, bears witness to a dialogue that will alter the course of their lives forever. With a steadiness that belies the turmoil within, Minardi seeks clarity amidst the swirling uncertainties. "Bell, what is it that they need?" His simple query pierces the silence that had enveloped them, a silence that seems to hold its breath for Bell's response. "They need me to go with them," Bell states, her voice confirming the depth of her resolve. This declaration speaks volumes, resonating with the unspoken understanding that has formed between her and the time-displaced beings. Admiral Redback, ever the voice of caution, interjects before the words can fully settle in the room.
"Let's be prudent here. We've yet to grasp their motives."
A voice of caution, honed by years of navigating the delicate balance between exploration and preservation, underscores the complexity of the decision. Though concerned, his words remind them of their responsibilities, not just to one another, but to the continuum of their timeline. Bell's response comes with a steadying breath, filled with a conviction born of unseen bonds. "Admiral, our history's always demanded a trust beyond doubt," she implores. "Believe me, when I declare their peaceful intent, their silence and discretion in our affairs, it's intentional. They mean to leave our timeline as undisturbed as possible." Minardi's stride towards Bell is resolute, his face carved with firm intention as he closes the distance between them. "If this is potentially a one-way trip, I'm coming with you," he declares. The weight of his commitment hangs in the air, echoing the unspoken depth of their bond. Their eyes meet in a silent exchange of trust and mutual resolve, each understanding the significant implications of his words without further explanation. Bell pauses, her footsteps slowing as she approaches Minardi. Her hand reaches out, capturing his with a tender and resolute touch. "Minardi, this isn't your burden," she murmurs, her eyes searching his, heavy with the weight of the decision they face. Minardi's smile is quick, and there is a flash of warmth in the tremendous tension of the command deck. "That wasn't a request, Commander. It's an order," he responds with quiet authority. His glance then shifts past her to the Admiral, seeking a sign of support. The Admiral meets his gaze, his expression a complex mix of melancholy and acceptance, acknowledging the depth of his commitment. Admiral Redback leans forward, his hands clasped tightly on the briefing table.
"I will need to run this higher up the chain of command, given it's a first contact situation,"
he states, emphasizing the layers of protocol their extraordinary encounter necessitate. As Belle absorbs his words, her response carries personal resolve and echoes a collective determination. She stands a little straighter, her gaze locking with Admiral Redback's. "Admiral, there's one last requisition. The Huntsman," she asserts, invoking the name of their storied vessel with a reverence that fills the space with its historical weight. The Admiral's reaction is a complex mix of surprise and introspection, as if the name of the Huntsman stirs a sea of historical echoes.
"The Huntsman?"
he repeats, his voice tinged with nostalgia and doubt, reflecting on the ship's storied past.
"But that vessel, she's a warship, a relic of the Duality Wars. She's been mothballed for years,"
he remarks, his voice carrying a hint of nostalgia mixed with regret. Undeterred, Belle's insistence cuts through the room's tension. "Yes, the Huntsman. Its historical significance and capabilities make it uniquely suited for this mission. It's not just a ship, it's a symbol of our ability to overcome the impossible." Her statement resonates with conviction, underscoring the Huntsman's symbolic and functional importance in their impending journey. After a contemplative pause, the Admiral gives a slow nod, conceding the suitability of her request.
"Very well, Commander,"
he agrees, the resolve in his voice matching the moment's significance.
"We'll begin recommissioning her for your journey. In the meantime, I've got a lot of explaining to do."
As the meeting winds down, Professor Weaver's gaze remains intently on Commander Belle, his concern mounting with each subtle grimace and the noticeable paleness of her complexion. With the discussion fading into background murmurs, he steps forward, urgency clear in his voice.
"Admiral, I must insist we take Commander Belle to our medical facility immediately. We must assess her condition thoroughly. She may be cleared for duty by tomorrow after adequate rest."
The Admiral's response is measured and serious, his nod acknowledging the gravity of Weaver's words.
"Commander, please accompany Professor Weaver to the medical wing and ensure you rest,"
he directs, softly yet firmly. Belle, her fatigue apparent, nods her acknowledgement, a faint smile of gratitude crossing her features. "Understood. Thank you, Admiral," she murmurs, her voice feeling relief and weariness. She takes cautious steps towards Professor Weaver, relying lightly on his support as they exit the command room, her careful gait reflecting the day's toll on her strength. Captain Minardi stands still momentarily, his gaze lingering on the strategic maps before him. He absorbs the silent hum of the command room, filled with the residue of intense discussions and critical decisions. Finally, he turns and strides towards the exit doors. As he walks, the ship's ever-watchful AI detects his movement and responds clear and resonant, "Captain Minardi, warship, the Huntsman." The way his name is woven with the Huntsman's carries a sense of destiny and familiarity, a reminder of the bond between captain and ship, leader and vessel. The Huntsman, a starship with a legacy that stretches back to the Duality Wars, now stands on the brink of a new era, ready to carve its path through the unknown under Minardi's command. Chapter 6. The Huntsman. The evening sky stretches over the docking bay as Captain Minardi steps onto the Huntsman, his eyes taking in the familiar yet awe-inspiring bridge. Its futuristic design gleams under the ambient lights, each surface reflecting a history rich with adventure and duty. The voice of Horus, the ship's AI, breaks the silence, its digital inflections warm with a hint of human-like affection. "Hello, Captain Minardi," it greets, each syllable echoing slightly in the spacious command center. "Horus, it's been a long time," Minardi responds, his voice carrying a mixture of nostalgia and respect for the vessel that had been an integral part of his military career. 2 years and 58 days, Horus replies. The hum of the Huntsman's engines vibrates softly beneath Minardi's feet, a comforting and familiar presence that speaks of readiness and anticipation. Around him, the bridge buzzes softly, with the potential of future voyages, each display and control panel polished to a shine, awaiting command. As Minardi moves through the bridge, his hand brushes against the cool metal of the navigator's console, reconnecting with the ship as if greeting an old friend. With its sleek chrome sphere hull and rotating disc, the Huntsman stands ready, bridging the gap between the legacies of past battles and the promise of new explorations. The air tingles with the electricity of impending discovery, each corridor and panel echoing the silent promise of the unknown. The ship, once mothballed as a relic of past wars, now hums with new life, poised to carve paths through uncharted stars. Minardi's presence on the bridge marks a reunion and a rebirth, a confluence of memories and future aspirations. As he completes his circuit around the bridge, Horus's voice chimes in once more, breaking into his reverie with a note of curiosity. "I understand we have a new mission, Captain," it queries, its tone implying readiness for the adventures ahead. Minardi smiles broadly, warmed by the familiarity of the ship. "That's right, Horus. We're heading somewhere far away. I hope you're ready," he replies, his voice imbued with anticipation and a hint of challenge. "I look forward to it, Captain," Horus answers, its digital voice carrying a hint of excitement. After a pause, the AI adds, "I understand Commander Bell will be joining us." "Yes, she will be," Minardi affirms softly, the mention of Bell bringing a gentle warmth to his voice. "She is currently in the station's medical facility, having some tests. I spoke to her briefly earlier. Hopefully she'll be joining us soon. She's looking forward to us all being together again." Deep within the heart of the Huntsman lies its advanced fusion reactor, a marvel of modern engineering that functions like an artificial star at the vessel's core. This reactor, encased in a shell of extraordinarily resilient metal alloys designed for extreme conditions, pulses with vast raw energy. Electromagnetic fields, intricately woven through the ship's inner core and architecture, corral and channel this immense power, ensuring it fuels the Huntsman's journey across the stars without overwhelming its structural integrity. Captain Minardi's gaze sweeps across the bridge, under the expansive dome-like ceiling that lends an infinity air. Around him, walls alive with the rhythm of data streams, star charts, engine diagnostics, communication feeds, feed directly into the ship's AI. On the bridge of the Huntsman, chrome humanoid robots stand like silent sentinels at their stations, their sleek surfaces catching the low light in a dance of reflections. Each is designed for a specific field. Medical robots perform complex surgeries beyond human capability. At the same time, engineering units manage the intricate systems that keep the Huntsman running smoothly. Around the Huntsman's spherical body, a rotating disc orbits just 5 millimeters from its surface, a marvel of engineering that grants the ship an elegant grace in the void of space. Able to rotate and tilt quickly in any direction, this disc enables the Huntsman to twist and turn through the cosmos precisely, making targeting incredibly hard and almost untouchable in battle. Beneath this disc, 8 spherical thrusters pulse with power, channeling energy directly from the ship's fusion core. This setup propels the Huntsman with bursts of speed that blur its form against the backdrop of stars, making it a formidable presence in any interstellar confrontation. The disk houses more than just thrusters. It conceals a deadly array of weaponry. Pulse lasers are ready to fire on command. A missile system is primed for devastating launches, and a railgun can fire projectiles at near light speeds, piercing through any defense with terrifying precision. In addition, compartments within its rotating disk hold a fleet of satellites. Once deployed, these satellites extend the ship's sensory reach and tactical capabilities, weaving a network of surveillance and support that underpins the crew's strategic superiority. Aboard the Huntsman, each crew member is a specialist, mastering multiple disciplines essential for deep space missions far beyond ordinary human endurance. The ship can be crewed by just one crew member or run entirely autonomously, adapting seamlessly to the demands of long-duration voyages or intense combat scenarios. In the heart of the Huntsman's command center, the sleek, ergonomic chairs surrounding the circular strategy table are more than mere fixtures. They are lifelines. As the bridge buzzes with the quiet hum of space travel, these seats stand ready to transform, at a moment's notice, into reclined stasis platforms, sinking smoothly into the deck to reveal the state-of-the-art stasis chambers nestled beneath. These chambers, crucial in the brutal ballet of space combat, are not mere conveniences, but necessities. In the void of space where the rules of physics cast long, unforgiving shadows, the Huntsman's ability to execute extreme acceleration, rapid deceleration, and sharp, evasive maneuvers is paramount. Without the protective embrace of these stasis chambers, the physical consequences on the crew would be dire. Supported by advanced buffering systems and enveloped by fields that neutralize gravitational forces, the crew can operate the Huntsman from a virtual interface, their physical forms shielded from the harsh realities of their actions. They can command the Huntsman through neural links, making strategic decisions and controlling the ship as if they were on the bridge. This ensures that human intuition guides the Huntsman's advanced systems without their body's physical limitations. Lieutenant Widow enters the bridge with a determined stride, her crisp uniform sharply contrasting the dimly lit environment. She moves directly towards Captain Minardi, her approach commanding his attention. Her handshake is firm, reflecting her role's significance and commitment to the task ahead. "Captain Minardi," she begins, her voice imbued with pride and responsibility. "It's an honor to lead the enhancements for the Huntsman on this mission." Minardi meets her gaze with a nod and a smile, acknowledging her dedication. "It looks like you and your team have been very busy," he remarks, his voice carrying a note of respect. "Indeed, Captain," Widow replies, her eyes reflecting the pride and fatigue of the tiring 24 hours. The entire station's engineering and science teams have worked around the clock, pushing every system beyond its original capabilities. Lieutenant Widow passionately details the upgrades as they progress towards the lower decks. "We've updated Horus with the latest quantum algorithms, enhanced the life support systems, and fortified our weaponry and defenses. We've also optimized the configuration of the living quarters, operational areas, and stasis chambers for maximum efficiency." Minardi listens intently, his appreciation for the ship's transformation evident in his thoughtful nod. The dim light of the chamber casts long shadows as they walk. The silence briefly settles between them until Commander Bell's arrival fills the space as Lieutenant Widow departs. Her arrival shifts the atmosphere, a change that Minardi feels in his core. He turns, his eyes meeting hers, tracing the contours of a face he knows so well, yet sees now as if for the first time in a lifetime. The moment stretched between them, filled with the resonance of a question simple in form, but profound in implication. "How are you?" The question unfolds layers of complexity, echoing through the space that had grown between them. "It's been challenging," she admits, her voice carrying the fragility of her struggle, clearly illustrating the powerful impact of the crystal's influence. Minardi's eyes hold a deep sorrow as he watches Belle, a stark reflection of his helplessness against the mysterious forces that had once claimed her. Yet his gaze also carries a fierce determination, a silent promise to stand steadfastly by her side through the twisting paths of their shared journey. "How did your medical assessments go? Have you been signed off as fit for duty?" he asks, his voice tinged with concern and hope. "They went well," Belle responds, a light returning to her eyes. "Even after one day, I feel more like myself. The brain scans show almost no interference from the crystals on my neural network. I'm officially cleared for duty again," she adds, her smile broadening. "That's great." Minardi's voice brightens as he grins. "Welcome back to duty." "Thank you, Captain," Belle replies, her smile briefly giving way to a more contemplative expression as she steps closer to Minardi. She reaches out, her hand moving with hesitant yet purposeful grace to grasp his. It is a simple touch, but it carries the weight of their past trials and a renewed connection. This gentle grasp closes the distance that hardships have once imposed, rekindling the bond that has always united them. Light, yet laden with significance, her touch serves as a lifeline, a gentle force pulling them back from the precipices of their introspections and towards the shared space of understanding and empathy that has always characterized their relationship. In that endless dream, through the labyrinth of visions and echoes, it was you who anchored me, Belle confesses, her words weaving through the air like a thread of silver, illuminating the depth of her struggle and the beacon of hope that Minardi has represented for her. Even amidst the chaos, my mind always returned to you. Her admission, spoken with a vulnerability and clarity born of her ordeal, underscores the deep impact of their connection. It reveals how, even when entangled in a realm that defies understanding, the essence of their bond has remained a constant guiding light that has helped her navigate through the tumult of her altered consciousness. Their embrace is a fusion of years of pent-up emotion, a confluence of sorrow, relief, and undiminished love. Belle leans into him, her body melding into his in a moment that transcends time. Their hug is a silent language of shared hardships and enduring connection. Belle's next revelation, conveyed with a voice of wonder and gratitude, unveils yet another layer of her extraordinary experience. "There are beings on their ship," she elaborates, painting a picture of entities far removed from their understanding, yet capable of compassion and intervention. "They work closely with the crystals, employing an empathic technique that allows them to calm the crystals in my mind. This process effectively puts the crystals into a state of hibernation, significantly easing their grip on me, returning fragments of myself and restoring a peace I haven't felt in a long time. They're giving me back the space to be me again, not just a vessel for these entities." A whirlwind of thoughts and emotions, Minardi seeks to navigate Belle's revelations. His question, both simple and laden with the gravity of their situation, aims to unravel the next layer of this unfolding mystery. "You mentioned they need your help. How?" he inquires, his voice steady yet underscored by a desire for understanding. Belle's eyes sparkle with a profound awareness as she shares her insights. "These crystals embedded in my brain, they're keys to a greater understanding of the cosmos," she reveals, her voice filled with wonder and urgency. "I feel a darkness looming, a threat only I might help avert with these." Her words vividly depict her pivotal role, bridging two realms against a shadowy menace. In the heart of the Huntsman, where the cold metal of the ship's structure meets the vibrant pulse of its heart, Minardi and Belle stand together, a symbol of resilience and unity. The distant hum of the ship's core, a constant reminder of the journey ahead, underscores the significance of their presence within this warship of exploration and discovery, and offers a chance to reclaim the love and time that seemed lost to the silent years.